Chapter 602. Frost Jade Peacock. Translator, Chibi General Editor, Chibi General. The scene before one's eyes was that of a grand and elegant white jade hall. 4 huge pillars were holding up the roof. On the ground, light casted shadows on a person. Be it the walls, pillars, or roof, they were pure and white as snow. They were all created using white jade stones. At the center of the hall, there was an elevated area with 23 steps of stairs. On the elevated area, there was a green copper divine bird statue. The divine bird was looking up and spreading its wings. But there were countless black chains, each with the size of an ancient tree, coiling around the divine bird's body, tangling around its long neck, its slim legs, and even piercing through its feathers and lodging itself into its body. The divine bird's eyes were sharp as daggers. It was frowning and had its mouth wide open, almost as if screaming out loud. Its expression was very moving. It looked so real with delicate details, and there was an indomitable spirit of resistance oozing from it. This spirit could leave a firm impression after a single gaze. Fang Yuan appeared on the stairs, looking at the tall and huge green copper divine bird statue covering his vision. His dark pupils seemed to have flames burning within. This! The sudden turn of events shocked Mo Yao to the point of stuttering. She gulped as she pointed her finger, shouting, "This is actually the Frost Jade Peacock, Imperial Court Blessed Land Spirit." "Ah, what's there to be surprised about?" Fang Yuan's lips curled into a smile. He said, "Imperial Court Blessed Land originally had a land spirit. Otherwise, it would not have recognized Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and made him its master. The land spirit is formed by the combination of an obsession and the blessed land's heavenly power. To get rid of the land spirit, you will have to deal with the entire blessed land. If the land spirit dies, the blessed land will be destroyed. If the blessed land is destroyed, the land spirit will die too. Currently, Imperial Court Blessed Land is still in good shape. It means the land spirit is still alive." His words made Mo Yao shout in anger. "You bastard, such obvious reasoning. How could I not know this?" Mo Yao had done all she could to research 88 True Young Building for her lover Bo Qing in an attempt to get the fortune-rivaling Heaven Gu and help Bo Qing advance to rank 9. Eventually, although she succeeded in entering the True Inheritance secluded domain, because of her insufficient power, she could not obtain fortune-rivaling Heaven Gu. Instead, she had to settle for something else, using her inheritance information and her own foundation as a refinement grandmaster to refine the calamity beckoning Gu. Because of this, she understood the value of the land spirit of Imperial Court Blessed Land extremely clearly. Back then, when Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was not ranked 9, he had won in the competition for Imperial Court Blessed Land's inheritance and became the owner of Imperial Court Blessed Land. When he became rank 9 and was invincible in the world, he had the superior Grotto Heaven, Longevity Heaven, and thus Imperial Court Blessed Land became one of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's multiple residences within the world. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable created 88 True Yang Building and set it up within Imperial Court Blessed Land. This formed a relationship. If one was targeting 88 True Yang Building, they would need to first enter Imperial Court Blessed Land. Imperial Court Blessed Land thus became a protective shell for 88 True Yang Building. After Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's arrangement, this shell had been exerting great use in that Gu Immortals could not enter. But in this setup, there was a huge flaw. Any Gu Immortal could see it clearly. That was the existence of the land spirit of Imperial Court Blessed Land. This flaw did not exist when Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was still alive. Because Giant Sun was the master of the land spirit would obey and do whatever he told it to do. But after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable died, Imperial Court Blessed Land became ownerless. As long as one could meet the land spirit's expectations, anyone could become Imperial Court Blessed Land's new owner. In 88, True Yang Building was situated inside Imperial Court Blessed Land. Thus, whoever controlled Imperial Court Blessed Land would have 88 True Yang Building in their grasp. As long as one was a Gu Immortal, they would understand this from just a small amount of thinking. In Mo Yao's lifetime, When researching 88 True Young Building, she had spent a huge amount of time and effort in this field. But eventually she made no progress. All the hard work and effort she put into this resulted in nothing. What sort of person was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable? How could he be unaware of this loophole? He dealt with this perfectly, sealing the land spirit deep within, and in Mo Yao's eventual exploration, she could not even find a single feather of the land spirit. To think that the land spirit was hidden inside the true inheritance secluded domain, only when the true inheritances fly at a certain speed would this loophole appear and allow for the possibility of opening this gateway. Mo Yao's heart was shaken. At this moment, she understood what had happened. The more she thought about it, the more she viewed Fang Yuan with a new and higher level of respect. This lad, I underestimated him. What sort of background does he have? He actually knew this method of entry. Mo Yao was shocked and curious. Fang Yuan's performance was very shocking. It greatly exceeded her expectations. What she did not know was, this was inside the video from Central Continent's Gu Immortals in Fang Yuan's previous life. In fact, the deep research of Central Continent's Gu Immortals was actually built upon the foundation of Mo Yao's findings. Mo Yao was an impressive refinement grandmaster. For her lover, she researched the 88 True Young Building and charged in alone. After she died, the previous research material that she left behind was in the hands of Spirit Affinity House. For the 10,000 years after that, generations after generations of geniuses within Spirit Affinity House continued their research on it. At the same time, 88 True Young Building had been corroded by the power of time, showing more and more loopholes over the years, becoming easier to exploit. But Spirit Affinity House knew that, to take down this juicy meat called 88 True Young Building, it was not something a superforce could do alone. Thus, Spirit Affinity House secretly worked with several other Central Continent sects and planned this for thousands of years. Spirit Affinity House took the lead as they controlled the most important research materials from beginning to end. Later, good preparation would be the key to success. When Central Continent's Gu Immortals attacked, the group was led by Spirit Affinity House's fairy of that generation, Black Moon. As he walked up the stairs, Fang Yuan arrived at the foot of the green copper divine bird. This tall statue was Imperial Court Blessed Land's land spirit, Frost Jade Peacock, except that it was sealed tightly by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and could not move. Since hundreds of thousands of years ago, throughout the ages, it had been standing here without any movement. As they got closer, Mo Yao had a discovery. Hey lad, your plan will be hard to execute. The green paste on the Frost Jade Peacock's body is created by the Rank 7 Immortal Gu Earth Prison. The black chains that are coiling around its body are made from the Rank 7 Immortal Gu Earth net. Eh? While saying this, Mo Yao thought of something, and her words stopped. At once, in Fang Yuan's mind, she was staring with her eyes wide open, like she had seen a ghost. Because she had suddenly remembered. Not long ago, Fang Yuan summoned 2 immortal Gu. One of them was Gruel Mud. Earth Prison, Gu, Earth Net Gu. Although they were rank 7 immortal Gu and were higher than Gruel Mud by 1 rank. But they were one-time expenditure Gu. They vanished after 1 use. The 2 rank 7 immortal Gu worked together to seal the land spirit. But after hundreds of thousands of years of corrosion from time, this strength had weakened greatly. And Gruel Mud was a direct counter to this strength. Ha ha ha, it seems you have already thought about it. You are not too stupid. Fang Yuan laughed heartily as he took out the Gruel Mud Immortal Gu from his pocket. Although this Gu was rank 6, because it was an expenditure-type Gu, it was comparatively easier to use. There was no need to inject immortal essence into it. He just needed to squeeze it. Fang Yuan squeezed lightly, and it shattered. The Gu worm burst and oozed out a brown-green light that was like liquid. The light followed Fang Yuan's will and flew up, fusing into the divine bird statue. Throughout the process, Mo Yao watched in a daze, unable to say a word. After the light fused into the statue, a slight tremor occurred, but this tremor was simply too light. It was almost like an illusion. But soon this tremor became larger. The entire divine bird statue starting shaking. Cracks were forming on the green paste covering the divine bird statue. Next, the chains started colliding with one another, making a loud and sharp noise. Success? Don't tell me after hundreds of thousands of years of wear and tear, the powers of the two immortal goo were used up? Mo Yao muttered to herself. She had a complex expression. There were disbelief, surprise, suspicion, and denial. But afterwards the tremors became smaller. The divine bird statue became silent, and the chains stopped clashing. The entire white jade hall became quiet once again. Mo Yao was deeply disappointed. She sighed. Failed in the end. There was the difference of a rank, plus this was the setup of an immortal venerable. Heh heh heh. But at this point, Fang Yuan laughed lightly. Mo Yao, look at the divine bird's head. Mo Yao's will looked over and was shocked. The green paste on the land spirit's head is slowly melting. That's right, this is the gruel mud, immortal goo's real effect. I was too caught up with the commotion and got carried away. I lost my bearings and did not think of this. Heh laughable. How laughable. Mo Yao suddenly shook her head and sighed. Immediately afterwards, her expression had vanished completely, restoring the demeanor of a legendary Gu immortal, a refinement grandmaster. Actually, she could not help but briefly lose her cool. In her life, she had paid too huge of a price for Imperial Court blessed land, for 88 true Yang building. Right now, Earth Prison Gu and Earth Net Gu, the powers of these two immortal Gu, although corroded mostly by the power of time, they still had a portion remaining. Although gruel mud, immortal Gu was effective against them, it was only rank 6, it was still very difficult to get rid of the remaining power. But don't forget about the existence of the land spirit. The tremors earlier were due to the land spirit. It was the one which exerted strength, causing the two immortal Gu to divert the majority of their power to suppress it, allowing the gruel mud, immortal Gu's power to sneak in. As the green paste melted, it turned into gruel mud on the white jade floor. The green-black mud was a great contrast to the white tiles on the ground. Drop by drop, they fell on the ground. The frost jade. Peacock's head was released, but after getting to its neck, the speed of melting greatly reduced. Evidently, Earth Prison and Earth Net Gu's remaining power reacted and started to resist gruel mud, causing the efficiency to reduce greatly. Heh, just like in the video in my previous life, it is exactly the same. Fang Yuan laughed as he looked at the land spirit, Frost Jade Peacock. Oh, Imperial Court land spirit, look down at your feet. I was the one who released you. How does it feel to breathe again after hundreds of thousands of years? As long as you recognize me as your master, I will help you to regain freedom. Frost Jade. Peacock's angry expression was still fixed on its face. Hearing Fang Yuan's words, it laughed arrogantly. I am one with the blessed land. All the things that happened in the blessed land for the last hundreds of thousands of years are clear in my heart. If you want to be my new owner, you will need to fulfill one condition. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, Giant Sun Immortal Venerables fulfilled this land spirit's request and became Imperial Court blessed land's owner. Today, Fang Yuan was facing this request as well. At this point, the video in his previous life had no more value. Fang Yuan laughed as his eyes shone, asking, "What condition?